Hello, I'm Charlie. My pronouns are she and her. This is Stitching with Charlie. You found your way to my little corner of the internet talking all things cross-stitch. And we're back for Flosstube number 4. I can't believe how time flies. I have so much to show you today. I have 5 new starts. I don't know what you've all done to me. You're all a very bad influence. Actually, you're all a very good influence. Getting to be part of Flosstube and seeing what everyone was working on and having conversations with people in the comments, and I've got a few dates in the diaries to kind of meet people on Zoom, and it's just been wonderful. So thank you all for having me, and thank you for the inspiration, but it does mean the whip count is growing. Also a thank you to the 11 of you that subscribed to my completely empty Instagram. So I started an Instagram under the same name, Stitching with Charlie, when I started Flosstube, and put nothing on it. It didn't even have a profile picture. It still doesn't have a profile picture. But as of yesterday, I did finally get on there and add a first post. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I will happily follow you back. I know not everyone wants to post videos on YouTube, so there's probably lots of you that are posting your work on Instagram, and I would absolutely love to see it. If you want to get in touch, you can message me on Instagram or you can send me an email. The address is down below. Please be aware that I'm not particularly well at the moment, and so I don't check either regularly. So if it takes me a couple of weeks to get back to you, that is sort of business as usual, and please don't be offended. Right, let's dive into the stitching. Oh, so much to talk about today. Very exciting though. Let's go whips first. So the first one is my Blackwork Turtle. So this is where it was when you saw it last. Actually, I haven't shown this for a couple of episodes. You saw it in my first episode, but no work has been done on it since until now. I find it difficult to pick up. It's a bit of a challenge, a little bit of a brain ache. But that's probably because I've chosen to do it 1/1 on a 20 count even weave, which is a little bit of a challenge. So this is where we are now. I picked this up again this week for a couple of challenges. So I'm in the group Divas Down Under. They do a big stitch count challenge, and then Laura's Stitching by the Shore also does an I Spy challenge. So I fitted this in for something that gives you the terrors, because I just dreaded picking it back up again on the Divas Down Under. And then Laura challenged us to find something shaped like a pretzel, and I think the sort of scales on the turtle's back were about as close as I was going to get with any of my pieces for shaped like a pretzel. So this is a pattern called Blackwork Turtle by Fiona Baker. It's from the World of CrossStitch, June 24. So I'm slowly making my way through. I do really love this. It's just blackwork. It's not sort of angular blackwork. I've got a piece to show you later, which is also blackwork, which is very easy and sort of flying by because it's all regular patterns. This is also, it's got a lot of diagonals, a lot of kind of funny shapes in it, and whilst it is repeating, it's not a specific kind of repetitive thing in the same place. There's different motifs before you get to repeating on it, but I really love it. I'm happy that I managed to pick it up again. The challenge on Down on Divas is to do 1,000 stitches on it. I don't count my stitches because I'm not in Pattern Keeper or things, which means if I was to finish it on that challenge, I'd have to do 10 hours on it. I don't think I'm going to do 10 hours on it. I like it, but I don't think I like it to 10 hours worth. So I think we'll slowly make progress on that one, and we'll see. I really love it. I'm excited to finish it at some point, but it's certainly not a regular in the rotation. It's too much of a brain burn for that. All right, the next whip is the one you see every single time, and it is my Kingfisher Frame. Realise there's a thread hanging off it. There's now 2 threads hanging off it. I didn't prep that very well, did I? This is where it was last time you saw it. I made some really big progress on it last time, got the bird in. I was really happy with it. It's from the April 25 edition of the World of Cross Stitching magazine. So I'm stitching this on a 32 count, so I got even weave in light blue. It's 2/2 threads. And this is where we are now. I am, you know, working my way up the side there, just doing the background. I've been finding that this is quite nice compared to the bird and the bird's face and things, because if you go wrong, no one knows. It's sort of abstract shapes. So I've got quite a lot of progress in off the side. And so a little bit up in this corner isn't stitched, and a lot of what we're moving into now of the background is tent stitch. So hopefully it'll go quite quickly. But I do need to get back in and finish the face and the beak and the eye. So this is where I've been working on in the last little while. I did do that thing you're not supposed to do. I pinched some of the threads of a certain colour for another project, and then I ran out. And that's why they say don't do it, because then you trot off to your local craft store and you think it's fine, I'll just pick up another skein, and it's out of stock, and then you go 2 weeks later and it's still out of stock. So there's a line through here which you can't really see, but I can see it, that is a colour that I've run out of the thread for. So that needs to be finished at some point. Yeah, so I've got the background to do and the rest of the beak, and then it'll be on to finishing all the metallic threads. So there's metallic threads in the forehead and the side of the bird here that's already been filled in, but I've left quite a lot of spaces where else it needs to go in, because I was finding it tricky, and I thought, well, I'll do everything else first and then it can kind of go in last. So those are all of my whips. Don't have a lot. I will at the end of this video. 5 new starts with a few more planned. Oh, it's good fun. I'm very happy to see the whip count grow. The bank account is less so. The next one is I have a finish to show you. So as you know, we play the wheel of magnet mayhem. We spin the wheel, and what it lands on, we stitch as a little magnet. So 2 episodes ago, we spun a pizza Pusheen, which was a little design by Rios Bracelets on Instagram, and they also have a blog where they've put the pattern as pixel art. So I link that in case anyone wants to stitch along. It's also below. And pizza Pusheen is finished. Oh, it's also a return of my metal baking tray. Pizza Pusheen is finished. So last time I just had the backing grey in, which is the colour I stole from the Kingfisher, and I shouldn't have done it. But I regret it slightly. But Pizza Pusheen is beautiful, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I changed the pattern a little bit on this one. So the changes from the pattern that I made in the stripes here on the pattern or the pixel art, they just did it in the same colour as the outline. And then the whiskers also went sort of at a diagonal, and I made them straight. And the reason I changed the colour is so that they're in the same colour scheme as my other Pusheens. So these 2 are from the little Pusheen CrossStitch kit. And so the grey is slightly different colour because I ran out of the pattern thread or the thread that comes with the kit for these 2, because I'm doing 4 threads over one on this Zygot twist canvas. It's a 14 count, and the pattern comes with Ada, and you're supposed to use 2 threads. So when I was using 4, I ran out of the grey. So I went with this grey, but for the outlining in brown and then the dark grey, I use the same as these so that the bead fairly close. And then for the pizza, I just pulled a couple of threads from Stash and filled that in. Very happy with this. He's very cute. He is a chunky boy though. I was surprised as I stitched him up how quite big he is. If you compare him to one of my little bluebirds, he's quite chunky. On the radiator, he sort of dominates the space a little bit, but you know what, we'll let him off because he's cute. So I've got one more of these from the pattern from the kit to stitch. There's one more design, which is another one with a Pusheen holding a donut. I also saw the other day Steph at steph.xstitch. She did like a finish video where she has got the most wonderful wall of framed finishes, lots of small pieces, but they absolutely cover 2 walls in her house. And she'd stitched these 3 Pusheens, these 2 and the other one from the kit, and they're just adorable. So I will link her below. Go and check out her walls of finishes, because it's really amazing, incredible, inspiring work. She's also done some like Bridgerton stitching, which she drafted herself. So yeah, really great stuff. So I have actually already spun, to save time, because I thought this video is going to be quite long because there's so much to talk about. I've already spun the wheel for the next one, and the one that came up is the Stardew Surprise. So this is, I'm going to stitch something from Stardew Valley. So if you are also a fan of Stardew Valley, it's one of the most, or if you don't know, it's one of the most popular video games of the last sort of 10 years. You're a little farmer and you go around and keep sheep and have a pet cat and grow crops. It's loads more than that, but that's it in a summary if you don't know. There is a official CrossStitch book, which I'll link below, so you can see it's a team of people, designers and things, and it's licensed by, you know, it's the official one licensed by Video Game, and they do a little booklet that's free, so you can see a few of the patterns and you can have a look at what's inside. So I'll link that down below, and I will either pick something from that to stitch, or I might just look at the Video Game art and print something off and kind of grid it up myself, like I did with the starbound little magnets I made, which you can see in my Flosstube one, if you haven't already. So if you're also a fan of Stardew Valley, I'd encourage you to go and get that little free booklet and see what you can stitch. Okay, those are my whips and my finishes. On to the new starts. Very exciting. Yeah, let's dive in. So I told you last week, or a couple of weeks ago actually now, 2 weeks ago, that I was going to start one from Emma Congdon's Cross Stitch for the Earth and one from Max Pigeon's book as well. So I started Unplug and Go Outside. And I'm doing this on a 36 count white even weave. And the brand of this even weave is called Fabric Flair. It was just a cheaper option that I could get in the UK than Zweigart. So I told you last time that I was waiting for a delivery of fabric to start these patterns, but also to start my Lola Crow Extraordinary Birds, which will be coming up shortly. And when I bought that, I did buy Zweigart linen for the Lola Crow, which obviously Zweigart is just branded and a little bit more expensive. And I really wanted to kind of stitch some of these bolder, brighter, patterns just on white. There's some beautiful fabrics out there that people have dyed and things like that. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying kind of the boldness of the stitching and the colours in the stitching. So I thought, well, I'll do my next few projects just on a white even weave, and we'll see how we like it. So this one is, it's a 36 count. I've decided we're sort of going down every new project sort of gets a little bit smaller on the stitching. So the Kingfisher's on 32. I thought, why not? Let's go 36 and see how we like it. I do like it a lot, actually. I'm really happy with it. And this is at about 5 hours on it. And currently it just says unplug. So it will say unplug and go outside. But right now it says unplug. Still quite a good reminder to get away from the screens and your phone and all that kind of stuff. I was watching Frizzy Lizzie's stitches the other day, and she had this framed in the background, and that was really lovely. I really like it when you're watching Flosstube and you see someone else either stitching the same thing or someone who's already finished something that you've got, and that you're stitching. It's always really inspiring to see finished people's work. So I have made some changes already. We've only done one word. So the changes that I've made on this, let me just reference. I've written them down. I've taken inspiration from Flosstube and have started myself little note cards of writing down the designer and the fabric and when I started it and things like that, because with the whip count growing, I'm sure I'm going to forget, but I'm writing on the back any changes that I made. I'm not sure whether I will be recording any happy accidents of where you go wrong and have to fudge it, but I'm certainly going to write down any things that I deliberately changed. So a couple of things with the lettering. So the P and the L on the pattern are the stalks are one kind of cross stitch shorter. And I just felt like when I was stitching it, it made the P really top heavy. So what I did was I just elongated the stalk of the P down one stitch. And then because it's on the same level as the L, I just made the L one stitch longer as well. I also moved the G up one square. So the G and the U aren't on the same, in the pattern, they're not on the same kind of horizontal line. The G is lower than the U, and I'm a big fan of symmetry, and I just couldn't, as soon as I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and so I moved it up one square. And at the moment I've done one fewer stitch of the blue outline on the right hand side border, and I'm going to put the go in and the next sort of bit of border in the middle, and then just see whether it looks right, because on the pattern it doesn't go the same on either side. So I'm going to put in the next bits and see what kind of looks right. Really enjoying it. I think Emma Condon's lettering and kind of graphic design on the typography is just amazing. What she does with a small amount of shading or small amount of colours to get that shading is just really fun, and I'm excited to continue stitching on this one. And then the next one I started was Flight of the Flock by Max Pigeons from his cross-stitch book, Cross-Stitch in the Forest. I absolutely love, I'm stitching both that one I just showed you and this one, with the called for colours. And when I kitted this up, I just absolutely love these colours. I think they're just really beautiful. These teals and blues and the greens, these are all my classic colours. These are all my favourite colours, and I just love blues and greens and teals. So I just think this colour palette is beautiful. So I was really excited as soon as I saw these colours all together in person. I just thought, it's going to be such a special project. I have made a start. Let me work out which way is up. And this is where we're up to. So yeah, a little start. I think maybe a sixth of the way there or a fifth of the way there. And yeah, really loving it. I did a centre start just to make sure that I kind of fit it all on. Actually, with it being 36 count, the circle is not going to be huge. And I really love the graphic design of the kind of single patterned cross stitches left out and then filled in with other colours. I think it's a really clever way of doing a kind of both realistic and abstract design at the same time, and the colours are just absolutely beautiful. So I've got the river in and I'm starting to get the birds in on that centre. I have made a mistake on it, but I don't think anyone would know unless I told you, and here I go and spoil it and tell you. One of these flowers, this one down here, is in the wrong place. Actually, I think it was this one that went wrong first, and then once that one was wrong, I shifted this one to kind of fudge it and make it look okay. Some of those centre flowers have already had their fill colour put in, and others are probably a little bit more bold at the moment because they're just showing the white fabric, but they get filled in with another colour. I am filming late at the moment, so we haven't got any natural light, so I think the colours are all coming out a little bit muted in the kind of artificial light only. So third starts coming out my ears today, is Lola Crow. Lola Crow's Extraordinary Birds. So this is my first proper stitch on linen. So I've started a small Halloween stitch that I've showed you before on linen, but this is my first sort of like proper project, I'm going to call it, on linen. And I'm doing it on a 36 count Zweigart linen in the colour Pale Sand. So I was saying last time that I had Googled what I thought was the model fabric or the recommended fabric, and I'd got this colour and I'd bought something equivalent that I could get in the UK. And then when the first drop actually came up, I realised that it wasn't the same. I think I was looking at the even weave rather than the linen option, so the colours were different. But I'm happy with it. I think a kind of neutral background is good for me at the moment. Like I said, I'm quite happy because I'm really enjoying kind of the stitching for the first time, stitching my own patterns, or seeing a picture come to life. I'm really enjoying like a kind of plain neutral background. So I'm going to stick with it and do it on this. I am finding the counting a little bit of a challenge, but this is a couple of hours in and I'm starting to get my eye in on it. So I'm just sort of counting and double counting, but really enjoying the feel of the linen. It's, really soft and like nice to hold and nice to stitch on. So yeah, small start on the Lola Crow. Lots of other people are already ahead of me. I had started, when I started talking about this, listing all the people that I knew were also stitching it. I can't, the list has gotten too long. So many lovely, wonderful stitchers are also stitching it, which is so nice to be stitching along, with the community. So today I just wanted to shout out Sarah at Champagne and Stitches. She is also another UK Flosstuber and fairly new. So she's just put out her 6th Flosstube, and I would really encourage you to go over there and give her a watch. She has a really great variety of stitches. She stitched a whole series of the Tiny Town patterns. I absolutely love them, and I keep looking at buying the patterns, and then I keep saying the bank account won't hold. So I really love those. She's also talks really knowledgeably about her stitching, and she's also very focused on her stitching, which I really appreciate. I know some of us can get a little distracted talking about all sorts of other things, but she's very professional, and I really enjoy listening to her. She's also done the Lola Crow, or finishing off the Lola Crow Greenhouse of Oddities, and I just love that pattern, so I really enjoy seeing it come together. Also, shout out to her partner, who does fabulous camera work. I think probably the most professional camera work of any of the Flosstubers out there. So you wouldn't know that I used to be a professional photographer, given that I just prop my phone up and just go with it even when there's no daylight. So I appreciate the hard work that goes into having multiple camera setups and a microphone and all that stuff. So yeah, go and give her a watch, because I'm really enjoying her work. Okay, so many new starts. Right, the next one is my thread end piece. So I have for a while been seeing people do thread end pieces or tail end pieces. So the idea behind it is that when you have a piece of thread that you know isn't enough to put back on the bobbin or back on the floss drop, then you stitch it into a piece, and then you end up with a piece with all sorts of wonderful colours that reminds you of what you've been stitching, and it's kind of wacky and different colours. So I really like this idea. I'm really into thrifty stitching and using up all your supplies and not letting things go to waste. I think it's something that's important to me, and I think is great. My issue with it is that, as you can see from this, I put everything back on the floss drop, particularly for big projects, because if you're doing full coverage, sometimes you might be like, oh, I missed a bit, or I need to take that bit out and do it again, or there might be a single stitch that comes out with the confetti. So with bits like this, I'm still putting them back on the floss drop, and that made me all of my end bits, I keep them in a little jar, but they're tiny. They are not enough to put back on a needle and do actual stitches. So I had been thinking for a while, I want to do something with my tail ends, but what am I going to do? Because I don't, there isn't enough, I can't get them through a needle. The reason I've not put them on the floss drop is because they won't go on a needle. Anyway, I was inspired by I don't know if anyone else used to make these, but we used to make rag rugs. So you get old textiles and you cut them up, and you get another piece of material and you put holes in it and you feed it through and loop it through and you pull it tight, and then you make a kind of multicolored rug. I made one and it started to fall to pieces. I've still got it actually. I'll try and dig it out at some point. It was very bright and colourful. But I thought, what could I do where I take these tiny pieces of threads, feed them through a piece of material and just basically, you know, tie them on with a little loop like you do with a loop start. And what could I do? So I thought, I want to do an animal, and I want the threads to be the kind of fur or kind of texture. Anyway, you might have to use your imagination a little bit because we're at the start of this. I've decided to do a hedgehog where the threads are his leg spines. So what I've done is done a very basic, they're going everywhere, but I suppose that's the point, isn't it? At the moment, I've done a very basic hedgehog face, and that came from a Carol Thornton pattern that's in the CrossStitch Gold Animal Collection magazine. So there's a full hedgehog pattern in there. And what I did was I picked out sort of where the eyes are, where the little nose is, and where the ears sort of go. I didn't follow the pattern completely, but I did a bit of artistic license going on. And I thought, well, I need that to kind of define, you know, what the hedgehog looks like, and also to get the size. So I've done that. Again, this is on that same white 36 count even weave. And then I've just started looping through my tail ends, putting the shorter ones up here, which will be kind of near his face, and then the longer ones are going on the other side. It's really fun to do, and who knows what it's going to look like. I think the big question will be, what do we do with the rest of the face? So obviously at the moment I've just put some kind of rough black in. I will kind of round out the eyes with a bit more detail, with kind of maybe a grey and a white and some backstitching maybe to kind of make it look more realistic. But I'm going to keep putting my thread ends in, and I'm going to see at what point how we finish off the face. I think probably can't really do a realistic face on there. I think we're probably going to have to bring in the bright colours. So we shall see. It's a bit of an adventure. Part of me thinks now I've started that maybe finding a more like cartoony pattern would have been better, like a kind of less kind of realistic pattern, more of a kind of fun cartoony pattern. But this is what we've got. This is where we're starting on. It's really fun to do. So what I'm doing is just doing a loop start basically, as you would, but do it from the front. I'm going over one to pull them through. And then with these small ones that are actually hard to get, you pull the needle out, and then I'm using a crochet hook to pull the back ends of the thread through because it's a little bit fiddly. So over time we'll kind of build up his body and his little fringy face, and and we'll see. It's a bit of experiment. Who knows whether it will turn out well, or whether it will just look like a weird mouse with multicoloured hair. He's supposed to be a hedgehog. Great. I have one more piece to show you and many plans. But the next piece is for a stitch along. So today is Amy at Harpy Stitch's birthday. Happy birthday, Amy. Amy is doing 50 starts for her 50th year, so she's celebrating a milestone birthday today. And she hadn't planned to do a birthday stitch along, and so I had left her a comment a couple of weeks ago and said, you know, is there something that, you know, a theme or a colour that we can stitch on for your birthday? Anyway, she has come up with a great theme, I think a really important theme, and it's called damnthemanSAL. So I won't go over it too much, because go and watch Amy's video. Down in the comments I'll link the video, or in the description I'll link the video, and I'll link the timestamp as well where she talks about it. basically, to do with political situation in the US, but the message behind it is about advocating for marginalized groups, and the importance of standing up for everyone, really. And obviously, there's political situation in the US, it's a bit different from in the UK. But even in the UK, our rights are not necessarily secure, and you have to be, constantly advocating. And activism is really important. This week in the UK, we had a Supreme Court ruling that said that defined what a woman is by the Equality Act, and it came down the ruling that transgender women are not considered women under the Equality Act, which I think is pretty shocking and upsetting for a lot of people. The judge did say that it doesn't take away, trans people are still protected under the Equality Act. They're just not legally defined as women. And this includes women who have a gender recognition certificate legally changing their gender with the government. They're still not defined as women, transgender women. So I think one of the things that we have to be very wary of is where legislation gets cut and cut and cut, and they say, but don't worry, you're still protected under this law or this law or this law. You don't need this law because you're protected here, here, and here. But as each of those get stripped away, your rights and your protections also do along the same time. So it's just something, to be aware of and to be wary of. Wherever we live in the world, it's really important that we advocate for one another and be as inclusive as we can. So I think Amy's stitch along is great. And I'm really happy to join in and really happy to do some rebellious stitching. And I have 2 projects planned. Now, warning ahead, if you are not a fan of swears in your stitches, I'm not going to say it, but it is going to be on the screen. Please use the chapters below that are clearly marked which ones have swears in to skip ahead. So one I have started, and the other is a kind of one to go on the to-do list, because I now have 11 whips and more things planned. And it's a bigger piece. So I've got one that I've started and another that will hopefully be started at some point. So the first one is a pattern called This Is Not Fine. This is fine, and the not is in brackets. It's by Screaming Heart Designs. Here's your warning that if you don't want to see the F word, you should look away now. I'm not going to show you the pattern because the pattern, there isn't a model mock-up, it's just the pattern. The pattern is free, but you are asked to donate to the designer. And so the pattern basically says, this is fine in block letters, but if you zoom in, it's a lot of tiny F words. And the pattern designer says, I've designed this for you if you just need to stitch the F word over and over again. So I've done the S, and there will be the I before it, and then this above it, and fine below. So yeah, there is my rebellious stitch saying, this is fine, when actually internally you're sort of screaming swear words. I had this pattern on my to-do list for quite a while. I also, to begin with, I wanted to do that little meme of the dog in the fire drinking a cup of tea saying, this is fine. It was sort of felt very apt to my life in the last couple of months of life feels a bit on hold. Life feels a bit challenging in lots of ways, and also politically and ecologically, and the world feels a bit on fire at the moment, doesn't it? So I had thought about doing that, and then I realised it's probably full coverage and quite a lot of work. I've got a lot of patterns on the go that I want to stitch. I found this one on Reddit and thought, yeah, that's it. It has the same ethos and it's a much quicker stitch. So it's Blackwork, and it is, because like I was saying earlier, this is like angular, and very repetitive, so the blackwork's going really quickly, unlike my turtle, which has kind of lines in all directions. I've decided to do this on a gradient, so the pattern is just in DMC 310 black, but I'm doing it kind of on a bluey green gradient. I love those teal colours, so I can display it in my bedroom. And I'm doing 2 lines of each of the 4 colours, so that you get that kind of that gradient down. The ones I chose here, the ones I chose were 943, 991, 3847, and 3851. So, and I picked those because I just went to the local craft shop and picked kind of a gradient of colours that I thought kind of worked well together. So I shall continue on with that one, and when I have time, I will start the second piece. So the second piece, I actually saw Stitchy Sally stitching this, and she was also kind enough to answer some of my questions about it. So thank you very much, Sally. This is No More version 2 by Birdie's Crossing on Etsy. And I think this fits. I was saying to you last episode that I wanted a monochromatic piece with kind of motifs and things. I showed you my sock, and actually I think this fits both. This bit fits both the new damnthemanSAL hashtag for Amy's birthday, and also wanting to do something kind of a little bit more classic in a modern rebellious way. So I'm excited to stitch this one at some point. I do think that I will probably maybe think about changing the pattern up. So it does really bug me. It's going back to that symmetry thing again. It does really bug me that the bottom central motif is off to the side, and obviously it's off that way because the transphobia is on the left hand side. So I think I'll probably put transphobia somewhere in the middle and then shift it around and see if I can get kind of that symmetry going. Yeah, so I think this is a perfect pattern. We should say F you to racism and sexism and xenophobia and all the things. Yeah, so thank you, Sally, for stitching this, because it's inspired me. I really want to do it too, and for helping me see the difference between version 1 and version 2. Version 1 had some different words on it and less words, and version 2 has these words. So I am excited to stitch that at some point. There's quite a lot to do at the moment and quite a lot of patterns. So I am, and that is by Birdie's Crossing on Etsy, if I didn't already say. So those are all my whips and finishes and new starts. I do have plans. So plans, my Kingfisher remains my main focus piece, so want to get it finished by the beginning of June and framed. So we're going great guns on that. That's still absolutely the focus piece. I'm hoping by next time I see you, it will sort of be mostly done with some of the finishing touches to do. So I've got a thread hanging off the bottom of it where I've had to frog some of it, which needs some attention to detail to unpick more of it. Something's come loose somewhere. And then I need to do all that metallic thread, like I was saying. So I'm hoping next time I see you, a lot of the kind of base stitching will be done, and then kind of focus on the finishing touches. Other plans, May is my birthday month coming up. So my birthday isn't till near the end of May, but I won't be doing an official stitch along, but if you would like to stitch on something to celebrate my birthday, then please stitch on something inspired by nature. A lot of my projects are, animals and of the natural world, and that is all stuff that I really like. So, and I'm pretty sure everyone already has a project that is a nature project that they can fit into that. Birthday wise, I am going to do a birthday start. Everyone talks about birthday starts, and so I'm coming to the end of my full coverage of the Kingfisher. I'm really loving the full coverage. Obviously other pieces are fun because you get that immediate satisfaction of kind of it stitching up quicker, but I do really like a full coverage, just the detail in it that you can get from all the stitches. So I did buy a Gecko Rouge kit, and that is my birthday present to myself. So I have got a little wish list of cross-stitch kits that's gone to my family that, you know, if they want to buy something cross-stitch related, but me, you know, would like a steer as to what to buy. So I think come the end of May, there will also be some more new projects, excitingly. But yes, the new start will be a Gecko Rouge kit. I am very excited. I got it ordered because I know they can take 2 or 3 weeks to kind of kit up on their end and then get delivered. So I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'm going to wait for it to arrive and then I'll share with you which pattern I've gone for. The other exciting thing I wanted to share is that when I sat down to record this, we were at around 232 subscribers on the channel. Thank you so much, everyone. It's so lovely. So if we hit, or when, hopefully, I'm gonna say if we hit 250 subs, I've got a small giveaway planned. So hopefully next video I will share that. That'd be excited. I don't have a kind of positive note for today. Nothing came across my path in the last 2 weeks that I wanted to share with you, but I hope you find joy in your stitching or any other kind of crafts that you're doing. Quick life update. I'll keep it brief. Things health-wise continue to be a challenge. But some positive things. My new wheelchair arrived this week. It has been nicknamed the Hot Rod because it's red. And the hope is that will facilitate a little bit more leaving the house. It has already. I managed to go to the market on Monday on a day that I wouldn't otherwise have gone. So that's, you know, positive. I did have a little cry outside the wheelchair shop before we bought it. It was just overwhelming. I have been chronically ill since I was 10 but I haven't had a wheelchair since I was a child. So, you know, it's just emotional, but I think we think of them as their mobility aids, just like I have a stick and I don't feel, you know, self-conscious using that anymore. And you know, a wheelchair is also a mobility aid, and a lot of wheelchair users are ambulatory and can also walk, but it, you know, it just felt like a big deal at the time. But I'm seeing my consultant on Tuesday, so we shall see what the next steps are. I suspect, well, it will be a medication change. I've been on this medication since January. It's doing nothing, so we'll get off that and we'll try something else. But this will be my 7th preventative medication or 7th preventative treatment, and, you know, not all tablets, but so I don't feel particularly hopeful, but we keep trying them because you have to keep doing what the doctors tell you. And in the meantime, I'm very grateful for the stitching. I'm very grateful for the stitching community, and, you know, looking on the positives, you know, being very unwell has brought me all here to you, and I'm making new friends and I'm getting inspired and I'm stitching artwork, and, you know, that's good. So I wish you good health and happiness, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks.